Hi everyone, this is Group 5 presenting for Caterpillar at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Today's date is April 8th, 2016. My name is Megan Moline.
I'm Jack Kalanick.
I'm Riley House.
I'm Steffi Chu.
I'm Alyssa Kamali.
Today's agenda, we'll start off with a situational analysis, our recommendations for the case, a country-by-country analysis, we're going to walk through our solver model, and wrap things up with a conclusion. To start off, Riley's going to walk us through our situational analysis.
Thanks, Megan. So in this case provided by Caterpillar, CAT Logistics is looking to rework their current Latin America Commercial Division's distribution network. Given a 4-year projection of forecasting for facility capacity for the 3 current Latin American facilities, the estimated utilization will be largely over capacity for the amount of work that can realistically be done in each facility by 2020. Our job was to analyze which countries opening a new facility within would benefit their system most. Now, in order to improve performance of order-to-delivery times, we have to consider part demand distribution, geographic location, facility size, and operation costs. Alternatives to the current Latin America distribution plan that we have looked at are either to expand the current Miami facility or reduce it and open 1 or more new facilities in the Latin American region. Now I'm going to pass it on to Steffi to talk about our recommendations.
Thank you, Riley. So our recommendation is to open 2 facilities, one in Santiago, Chile, and one in Quito, Ecuador. So they'd both be at a capacity of 200,000 square feet, and Chile would have 13.39% of sales, while Ecuador would have 29.71% of sales. Next, an explanation of our recommendation. Our results are based off an Excel model using distance, shipping costs, favorability rating, and demand. So our 2 new facilities will handle around 43.1% of total capacity. And based on our country analysis, we found that Chile has a favorability rating of 4.52 out of 5, and Ecuador has one of 3.03 out of 5. Both of them are part of Zone 406, which is UPS's cost favorable region. Next, looking at our new facility size and location, Chile, as previously mentioned, will be covering 13.39 of demand, including Uruguay and Argentina and Chile. So Chile received the highest rating for overall economic, social, and political stability, and additionally would be able to cover the southernmost demand further down the continent, overall lowering the transportation costs because of close geographic proximity. Looking at Ecuador's facility size and location, it will be covering 29.4% of demand, and its ability to cover a lot of demand, which is almost 30%, as well as it is being centrally located, so responsiveness will be relatively quick to those areas. Next, I'm going to pass it on to Alyssa to talk about current facility size and locations.
Thank you, Steffi. Currently, there is a facility in Brazil which covers 9.37% of the demand. And we decided that based on our Excel model that instead of reducing the Miami facility, we would transfer some of the capacity from Brazil to the 2 new capacities. We also want to suggest that Caterpillar utilizes economies of scale in the Miami facility while transferring some of the excess capacity from Brazil to the 2 new facilities. There's also a location in Mexico which covers 7.92% of the demand, and Ecuador would be able to cover some of this demand. Then looking at the Miami facility, this covers 39.61% of the demand, and we decided that keeping a majority of the countries in close geographic proximity made the most logical sense, as well as what our Excel model recommended, to keep this collective group of countries close by at the Miami facility due to large shipping costs to get to these areas as provided by UPS. And looking at our country-by-country analysis, we broke it down into 4 different categories, which were economic stability, infrastructure stability, political stability, and social-cultural environment. And then within each of these categories, we had some subcategories that you can see on the slides. And now I'm going to pass it on to Megan, who's going to talk about our solver model.
Thank you, Alyssa. So to recap our Excel model, we've broken it down into 4 parts: distance, shipping cost, favorability rating, and demand. We began by first calculating the distances between each country with their coordinates in a trigonometric formula. Within Solver, we were then able to utilize this data to minimize the overall distance necessary to travel between countries. enabling us to locate the most ideal countries to open facilities within on solely a geographic basis. Next, we found out which UPS shipping zone each country fell within, which gave us a corresponding cost. Our model uses this to locate a facility by minimizing total cost of transportation. As previously mentioned, we conducted a country analysis based on economic, social, and political stability, as well as overall country infrastructure. Each country was assigned a weighted score representing the accessibility and ease of working within the country. Finally, we aggregated the demand units based on a per-country basis. Our solver model pulls this data to allocate the demand to the most ideal country based on the previous factors given. Additionally, the part breakdown by movement. We talked about eliminating slow-moving parts from the beginning. We also talked about how we broke down the percentage of parts going into each facility in order to incorporate the demand per country when choosing a facility. Some gaps in our analysis that we plan on improving upon is that we are looking mostly on a country-by-country analysis instead of per part. Since a majority of our demand is derived from fast and medium moving parts, we would recommend that to improve the analysis, further action can be taken by identifying the most viable positioning for each product by distribution center as well as country. Next, Jack is going to talk about the resulting impact on our Miami facility.
Thank you, Megan. So let's go back to the original question that we posed and figuring out whether we should expand the Miami facility or open new facilities around the Latin American region. We've decided to go forward with opening facilities in the Latin American region solely because of the great stress that's put on the Miami facility in general. With it covering almost 60% of the demand at one point, we saw a significant need to reduce the stress on this facility by opening up these new facilities. So, based on our recommendations, we saw that although we'll be keeping the Miami facility at the same 400,000 square feet, we'll be reducing its demand, its overall demand down to roughly 40% of the total demand. And as it being one of the flagship distribution centers for your operations, we hope to keep it in operation and utilize its large scale of operations to reduce the overall cost of distribution throughout the Latin American region. This helps also reduce the current utilization issue that we're going to be running into in the next 4 years and maintains it at a even 100% utilization to ensure that it is working at peak capacity. Now going forward, we'd like to talk about our final conclusion in that although in 2020 your facilities will be almost 60% over in total capacity, opening up these new facilities will offer an escape to allow for excess capacity and excess demand to be met, not only in a more cost-effective manner, but a more logical and geographically distributed demand way, and will allow for you to better serve your customers overall. And this ultimately achieves the goal of reducing our overall lead-to-order times and delivery times from our emergency and standard orders overall. So with that, we'd like to wrap up the presentation, and thank you for your time, and look forward to your questions and answers. Thank you.